Well, every Prime Minister wants to make a difference and leave a legacy, right? But the absolute carnage we have seen unfold at 10 Downing Street overnight has meant that Liz Truss has become the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history. It is a painful way to be remembered. 1 minute, she's telling the House that she was no quitter.
Mr. Speaker, I am a fighter and not a quitter.
And the next minute, next day, in fact, 44 days and a bit into the job, she walks the plank.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party.
Politicians love sugarcoating their failed reality, don't they? It had nothing to do with not delivering mandates. When she could talk without a script, she mangled it. She couldn't speak on radio. Truss was sunk by her own inability to tackle rising inflation and enunciate that, and, of course, the cost of living pressures. She stammered and stuttered through her first fortnight, laid down a plan which sounded good, then backflipped on most of it, and the London ravenous press did the rest. And a certain wigged lettuce didn't help her cause either. Yes, thanks to the Star newspaper, Liz Truss was beaten in part by a lettuce. And in a world exclusive, I can reveal to you this is the actual lettuce. Can you believe it? On set now. It's even a little bit tatty because it's come so far. Can you believe that she was reduced to a common lettuce? And I bet this lettuce doesn't realise how powerful she is. They called Liz Truss the iceberg lady, so the Star ran with that theme. The paper created a contest between the PM and the 6p lettuce from Tesco to see who would survive longer. There was even a live stream of the pair so viewers could detect the decay of the vegetable versus the human every day. And the lettuce received worldwide coverage. Why is Britain comparing its Prime Minister to a lettuce? Asked the Washington Post. NBC reported the British Prime Minister faces historically low approval ratings and even an unfavourable comparison to a head of lettuce. Brits mock their Prime Minister, screamed Germany's tabloid Bild, the country's best-selling newspaper. Now Liz Truss even has to fight a head of lettuce in the fight for her political career. Well, she doesn't have to fight much longer. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. As she departed, the Star projected a giant image of this lettuce, wig and all, onto the Houses of Parliament. Oh, beam me up, Lizzie, read the headline.
I want to thank everybody here and hasta la vista, baby. Thank you.
And yes, the man who did that terrible Arnie Schwarzenegger impression in the House of Commons when he got ditched only last month, that's how recent it was, is now tipped to come back and save the furniture. With Boris holidaying in the Caribbean, but returning now to put his hand up again. Well, he's not around for an interview, but his father Stanley kicked off his son's campaign.
I personally think he is very, very well qualified to actually be that unity candidate you were just talking about. What went wrong? What went wrong is the ideological wing of the Tory party, the headbangers, if you like, decided they would test out their economic theory, the Trussonomics, if you like, and it went wildly wrong. I think Boris, as he comes back, is extremely well placed because he was a man who got Britain out of Europe, but he's extremely well placed to say, now, look, forget it. Brexit has been done. Our job now is to reoccupy the centre ground, and that will include, of course, moving steadily ahead with relations with the EU and other European countries. So I think he is a good place to do it.
And the campaign has begun. But the centre ground, is that what the Tories need? In what would match the extraordinary resurrection of Winston Churchill, Boris is already topping the first of the polls being run on who should lead the Tories. There are a few small hurdles for Boris to jump over, of course. Firstly, he's got to convince his parliamentary colleagues, many of whom were pretty vicious when he departed. Secondly, he holds an increasingly marginal seat. And then there's that rather high bar facing him as well, which is the Privileges Committee investigation. Now, two other candidates will definitely be Penny Mordaunt and the Truss runner-up, Rishi Sunak. Yes, it's become an unbelievable plot to a political thriller, but it's also a lesson to governments the world over, including ours, that governing in this volatile environment of high inflation, spiking cost of living, the high price of lettuce, can be a poison chalice for newbies like Liz Truss. And if you don't have the answers and don't even look like having the answers, you'd better have an exit plan or look better than the local lettuce. I would encourage all here tonight to pray, let us pray for the UK.